Is it reasonable or shady or annoying that we keep talking about this Mormonism topic? Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review season 3, episode 4 of the Real Shady Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, Thailand. We start the episode off with everyone waking up in the morning, or at least the way Teresa's daughter, Gia, likes to put it. Waking up in the morning, thinking about so many things. I just want things to get better. And it's the 4th day of the vacation. We see Pepsi, the concierge. He's heading over to Alexia and Marisol to let them know that today is a Portia day, and Portia's activity is a Thai barbecue. Then we see Leah and Candace in the bathroom. Leah is telling Candace that she is so shocked that Giselle will call her out for telling Alexia that her story is boring when Giselle has said and done so much worse on her show. And yeah, that is true. Giselle has said and done so much worse on her show, but Leah, that still doesn't justify that you're also wrong in this situation, so don't try to use that as an excuse. Candace, she's telling Leah, you know what, don't let them win in this situation. Don't let them run you out this house because they're bullies. That's exactly what bullies want. It's bully behavior. And I mean, I don't know how I feel about Candace using the word bullies like this, because I mean, you said it yourself on your show, Candace. When people come at you, it is not your fault the way you respond back to them. But now that they're doing the same thing and responding to what Leah said in the first place, now they're being called bullies. So what's the correlation, Candace? I don't get it. And maybe I don't get it from her perspective because I don't like people who complain, whine, and bitch about everything on vacation. And that's all Leah has been doing since day 1. I mean, we're on day 4 and nothing has changed. I promise you, Candace, you would not have any empathy towards Leah if she would have told you, I don't feel like listening to Drive Back. Again, for the 100th time, I already heard this before. This is boring. Give us something new. I'm pretty sure that you will handle the whole situation completely differently. But then in the confessional, she goes on to say that she is tired of the fighting. She is tired of the yelling. Everybody keeps coming at each other. And it's only been 4 days into the trip so far. And then she goes on to say that the Real Housewives deserves an Emmy. Why? Because they put their real lives out there for the cameras. Well, most of them, I'm looking at you, Robin and Giselle. And she feels that, unlike a soap opera where the drama, the fighting, and the yelling is fake, everything is real on the Real Housewives. And then we get this cute edit of, instead of the Days of Our Lives, which is a famous soap opera, we get the Days of Our Wives. And we see this cool intro with this dramatic music in the background. And everybody starts surmising, and everybody was so cute with it. But Whitney swore that she was on America's Next Top Model. I mean, she was just like, she was too ready for Tyra Banks to show up and tell her, okay, in my hands right now is the picture of the girl who's going to win America's Next Top Model. If I do not call your name or show your picture, you must go home and pack your bags immediately. Whitney Rose. Like she was too ready to become a model. Then we see Heather, Leah, Marisol, and Alexia having breakfast together. Leah, she lets us know that not only is she on her period, but she also has diarrhea. Or at least Heather put that out there. Heather, they start asking her about her relationship with Whitney and what's going on with that between everything that happened the day before on the yacht to now. Heather, she lets us know that everything's okay for now, that they're trying to move past it. No, they're not. Candace, she's upstairs getting ready. Giselle and Portia, they join them for breakfast. Portia, she lets them know that they're all going to be getting some Thai massages. And Portia, when she walks in, she tells everybody, "Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Wait a minute. It smells like bologna in here." So they sit down to have a conversation, to eat breakfast, and to get the day started. Meanwhile, Whitney, she's in her room, and then she gets an unexpected phone call from the one and only Lisa Barlow from her show. And I'm like, what is Lisa doing on here? Lisa, of course, she starts telling Whitney, "Hi, Whitney. Hi, baby gorgeous. How are you? How's everything? How's Thailand? Is there a Taco Bell over there? I love Taco Bell. How's everything? You look so good. You look so pretty. How's Heather? Why was I not invited to this?" Whitney, of course, being so shoved up Lisa's ass, she starts telling her, well, Lisa, we went on a yacht trip the other day, like yesterday, and me and Heather, we got into it pretty badly, and I don't think that Heather's gonna be my best friend anymore, but Giselle from the Real Housewives of Potomac, she's so cool, like she's so nice, and I love her outfits, like she knows how to dress really nicely. She promised me that she's gonna follow me back on Instagram. Lisa starts telling her, Of course, that's exactly how Heather is. She tries to control my narrative all the time, and I keep telling her, don't do that, don't do that. I control my narrative, not you. You know what I'm saying, baby gorgeous? But you know what? You keep doing you in the end. That's that. That's the best you can do. And that was that. And you know, Whitney and the relationship that she has with Heather, it kind of reminds me of Teresa Giudice and Melissa Gorga and Joe Gorga. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they're both going down that road. Because Whitney, she goes on to say, well, you know, I feel like I had to be loyal to Heather because Heather put me onto the show. And I'm like, oh, so this is where this whole thing stems from. But okay, so, you know, Whitney's trying to be independent. She's trying to break away from Heather. But I feel like Whitney kind of likes the chaos between her and Heather. Why? Because it keeps her on the show. And two, because she knows that this whole situation right now on this trip is going to spiral into the reunion and onto her show for season 4. So then we see Portia and Heather. They're talking about this Mormon situation. Again, Portia, she's trying to get a better understanding of where Heather is at. And she's telling Heather, well, you know what, Heather? You know, in due time, you're going to be off the Book of Mormon, right? Like, because Whitney's off it, right? Heather, again, this is why it's so hard to understand her and Whitney, because Heather's like, what, Portia? You said that I'm gonna be taking my name off the Book of Mormon? You know what? That doesn't even matter. And I'm like, what, Heather? Like, what? So now it doesn't matter. But just the other day, yesterday, with you and Whitney, you were both going back and forth with each other about how important that is. But now, oh, it doesn't matter. Portia, she said it perfectly in her confessional. By the way, her new confessional was so nice. Like that top that she had on, so good on Portia. Portia, she says it perfectly. I don't really understand what Heather's trying to say. I mean, she says that she's a bad Mormon, but she's coming off as a bad liar. And Heather, if I was you, I would copyright that. And for your second book, you should title it, Not Only Am I a Bad Mormon, I'm a Bad Liar. So everyone reunites outside to get the Thai massages. They're all laying on the tables individually. They're all getting their massages. Portia, out of nowhere, she was just like, I want to get naked. Me 10 minutes after Netflix and chill, but I believe she takes off her clothes. I believe her, Alexia, and Marisol were the only one that were fully naked with a towel over them getting the massages. So everybody's getting massaged, everybody's, you know, relaxing and everything. Next thing you know, you start hearing moaning and groaning, and Candace in the confessional, she was just like, wait a minute, what is this, a brothel, a bathhouse? What's going on? Because everybody started moaning out of nowhere, specifically Marisol. Whoo! Marisol was just like, wait, espera. Okay, keep going. Oh, papi, wait, hold on. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on here? Meanwhile, they have Leah with her arms pinned up against her head like this, and they're just cracking her back like, I'm like, well, damn. I'm like, okay, well, at least everybody enjoyed themselves, right? So after the massages, what does Giselle do? Of course she has to be messy. Her and Heather, they go out to the side. Heather, she's telling Giselle, oh, I talked to Jen Shah this morning. She texted me saying that she loved me and everything, blah, blah, blah. You know, the typical lies. Giselle, she tells Heather, oh, really? Wow, maybe you should call her. And I'm like, Giselle. But go ahead, Heather, do it anyway. Heather, she starts calling Janet. You know that Heather was sitting there with her phone like, please don't answer. Giselle is about to ask you so many messy questions, and she's about to expose me probably too. Don't answer, please. So Jen, she didn't answer, but Giselle, she didn't give up. She was just like, you know what? Call her again. And then she says in her confessional, did I call Jen a criminal? And then we see in the flashback that, yes, she did call her a criminal. But it's okay, Giselle. We all did. So Giselle was just like, maybe she's going to hate me if she answers the phone. I could only imagine if Jen Shah was to have answered the phone, how that whole conversation would have been. Because then she doesn't pick up the phone the second time. Heather, you know, she was sweating. She was just like, oh, thank goodness. Thank the Mormon gods. So Giselle, she was just like, you know, it's one thing about Homeland Security asking questions towards Jen, but it's a whole different ball game with me asking you questions. And yes, Giselle's very annoying with interfering in other people's lives. This is the one time I'm going to allow it. And I would have loved to see her question Jen Shah, because you know she probably would have asked her, hey Jen, how are you? Lovely meeting you. So did you do it? Where's the money? Did your husband have any involvement in it? So they all sit down to eat the Thai barbecue, not the Miami style barbecue, but the Thai style barbecue, which is uncooked meat with some pork sauce on it. Leah, she can't eat it because she doesn't eat pork, so I wonder what they gave her. Marisol, you hear her asking, do you have any mayonnaise? I mean, I am Marisol because I ask for ketchup everywhere and anywhere. They sit down to eat, and then we see Candace rolling up her infamous triangle. You know, the friend of the show on the Real Housewives of Potomac, Candace's tissue. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Why is she about to cry? They're all just eating here. What's happening? Then in the confessional, she explains it a little bit better how when she was watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she will watch Portia, and she thought that her and Portia were going to be best friends, or she was trying to prove to the audience that her and Portia can be friends on this trip. But obviously, the last couple of episodes have said otherwise. So she starts telling Portia, you know, Portia, it's just, I really thought that me and you were going to be best friends. And I do understand where Candace comes from emotionally, because I am the same way as Candace when it comes to her emotions and how she expresses herself and the way she reacts. I'm the same exact way. So I completely understand why she starts crying before even making her point across. Then Portia in the confessional, she starts mimicking the whole triangle, and she was just like, one thing about Candace, she's going to get every single tear before it goes down to your cheek like this. I'm like, at this point, I want Candace to come out with some type of merch with like tissues or whatever. Like, she could make some money with that. So she starts explaining to Portia that she wanted to be friends with her, but then the whole altercation with Monique happened. And I'm like, again with this Monique situation? Like, you know, we just had a whole conversation about it last episode, and now again here. But again, she feels some type of way over her comment saying that, you know, you thought that I was going to sue Monique because I wanted to pay for my mom's house, and that was not true. I don't appreciate that. Portia, she tries to defend it by saying, well, I was only listening to what my friend Monique said. She told me that. I mean, I didn't, you know, take it as anything serious. I just put it out there. Candace's thing is that she just wanted a platform to defend herself and give her side of the story, because I remember even before the trailer dropped or the first episode dropped of season 5, when it leaked online that there was a physical fight between Monique and Candace, so many people were saying, oh, Candace started it, she did it, she swung her glass at Monique. When if you watch the footage, it was actually, you know, Monique was grabbing onto her hair, and then Candace was swinging her glass. And if you really want to get technical, if you rewatch the entire scene, Giselle kind of started the whole thing because she pushed Monique. And I feel like Monique probably thought that, oh, it was Candace or something set her off. But then again, everybody has their own opinions on that. But then Giselle, she wants to jump in it, and she tells Candace, and she gets all upset about it. She was like, Candace, I defended you. I defended you in the live chat that me and Portia were having. You know, when Portia said that, I told her, no, that is not true. That is not true. I'm on team Candace. And again, Candace was not trying to hear that. And honestly, even Giselle trying to defend her stance in this whole situation now, we already see right through you, Giselle, because the reunion exposed you, because obviously you don't care about violence, because your whole stance back then was, oh, I don't like that, you know, people start fights like this, I don't like women who act like this, blah, 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 all this and all that. But then at the reunion, what did you say? Oh, I don't really care about Wendy or what happened to her with the whole situation with Mia, because I don't like her. So you are just telling all of this to Candace because you don't like Monique. That's the only reason why you were defending her. Candace starts calling Monique a raggedy hoe again, and I'm like, again, with the name calling towards her, Candace, I get it that you dislike her a lot, but I thought you healed from this and you put it in the past. Remember all the sticky notes? Now, if Monique was to get on a TV show or an interview and try to downplay you or your husband and call both of you names, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't like that, right? So then Portia, she's obviously not giving the apology that Candace wants. So Candace starts telling her, it's a whole different thing from facts, opinions, and made up stories that Monique told you. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. I have a journalism degree. Portia, what does she say? I have a journalism job. Portia, come over here. Portia Williams, come over here. Portia, if you're watching, get closer. Let's start using this up here. You know, it's a whole different thing that you have a journalism job. Like, kudos to you for getting that without a degree. And it's a whole different thing that Candace has her actual journalism degree. Let's say it again. Degree. One more time for Portia. Degree, because you literally just sat there and just repeated something that Monique told you that it wasn't true. And journalists, the last time I checked, they don't do that. So Portia then has 3 different activities for the group to do, and they all have to pair up in their own specific cities. So Giselle is with Candace, Marisol is with Alexia, Whitney's with Heather, so that leaves Leah and Portia to themselves. Portia, she tells Leah, you know what, Leah? I was thinking for our group name, since we don't have a specific city, maybe we could call ourselves Poor Leah. Portia, you could have came up with a better name like Leisha or Pola or something, but poor Leah, she's just standing there like, well. So the first game is called Caw. It's just like a game of volleyball, except they have to be in a costume, an elephant costume, and volley the ball back and forth to each other. So for the most part, they were all good. It was nice to see them get, you know, athletic and physical and everything. Candace was me, because Candace was like, yeah, I'm not really competitive. I don't really care. As long as I don't break a nail, I don't care. So then the second game, right? The second game is where things got a little nasty, and not in a good way, because they have to sit down and they have to sit down in front of their partner, right? And their partner standing behind them have to have these little tiny hands that look like Joe Gorga hands, and they basically have to feed a bunch of Thai food into their partner's mouth, and whoever finishes the huge bowl of food is the winner. And it was pretty gross to watch because they were stuffing their mouth full of food. And eventually we got down to Portia and Leah, poor Leah, and Giselle and Candace ended up winning. What's her name? Giselle was just like, oh yeah. I'm just gonna keep feeding her because I know that Candace has a big mouth. I'm like, oh Giselle, as if you don't. But Candace, she's just standing there like, I'm the winner. It was so gross. But then the third game, we go from cute to nasty to messy, and I was here for it. Next thing you know, they bring out a platter of scorpions, and I'm looking at it like, what are we about to do with that? Portia, she has a stack of cards in her hands that the producers secretly wrote for her to read, and it's basically a game of truth or dare. You either answer whatever Portia's about to ask you, or you just eat the scorpion. We start off with Alexia. Alexia, how would you rate all your husbands in bed? First of all, the fact that she has a roster of husbands that she could rate. But Alexia, she starts it off unprovoked by saying, well, I really don't want to discuss this because I don't want any of you to fuck my husband. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was a classy party. Well, damn, Alexia, I promise you, nobody's looking for your husband. I know, you know, things in Miami, people are unfaithful, Lenny. But, you know, relax. Giselle was just looking at her like... But she starts off by saying, well, my current husband is going to be number 1, of course. And then it's going to be her first husband. And then Herman, the one who passed away. And I mean, of course, her current husband has to be number 1. Can you imagine if he was number 2 or 3? She'll be heading back to Miami to a divorce. And then we head over to Candace. Candace, would you bang Monique Samuels? Candace was like, oh yeah, I will bang her. I will bang her to death. Obviously, she didn't mean that in the more enjoyable way. Then we head over to Heather. Everybody's laughing, ha ha ha. Heather, she's having a good time. Heather, you know, who gave you that black eye? Whoo, Heather's smile just went out the window. She was just like, can you pass me the scorpions? And can I get some ketchup too? I'm like, what happened, Heather? I thought you said that nobody did anything to your eye. I thought it was the shelf or whatever, or the door, the plant. Now you're trying to cover something up? Again, Heather is just so suspicious. And they're just looking at her like, and she got so serious about it. She was just like, no, give me the scorpion, give me the scorpion. Portia was just like, wait a minute. I thought you said nobody gave you the black eye. Aha. Portia was actually using her brain. And then we head over to, who's the next one? Whitney. Name 3 lies that Heather have told. And I'm like, oh, these producers are messy. So Whitney was just like, well, you know, me and Heather are trying to be in a better place. So I'm just going to eat the scorpion. Can you pass me the scorpion? And can you give me some butter? Thank you. You know, I really love Heather. And I'm like, Whitney, just say that at this point. At this point, just trash Heather even more, because the last 3 episodes you've been doing it and you already put her in the biggest lie, like, oh, why isn't she signed out of the Mormon book? And now you want to be all holier than thou? Even Heather said in her confessional, like, please save it. You already threw me underneath the bus multiple times. And now you want to be all squeaky clean, whatever. So then we head over to Giselle. Who do you think will make the least amount of money on OnlyFans? Giselle, she says that it's Marisol because she probably wouldn't understand it. I'm not really sure what Giselle meant by that. That comment was a little suspicious. Do you mean like the English barrier or what exactly, Giselle? But then we head over to Leah. Leah, who do you think out of, you know, your current cast of The Real Housewives of New York is not going to be invited back to the reboot? And honestly, the funny part is that none of them got invited. It's a whole different show with a whole different cast. Leah, I'm thinking, okay, she's about to throw Ramona underneath the bus. What does she do? Oh, can I get a scorpion, please? And I'm like, come on, Leah. Like, you one chance to maybe redeem yourself and you want to be lame. Like, you had a whole bunch of options. Dorinda, Sonia, I think her name is, Luann, Ramona is right there, but none of them. In the confessional, Candace tells her, you sure, Leah, that you don't want to name anybody? Leah was just like, no, no, no. I'm all about peace and good vibes. Like, go home. Candace was like, well, I'm not a producer either, nor I'm not Bravo, but I think that Giselle should be kicked off our show. And I'm like, wow, she finally said it. And while you're at it, Giselle, take Robin with you. But I mean, what do you all think? Do you think that Giselle should be fired? Do you think that she should stay on the show? What do you think? Giselle then announces that they got 45 minutes to get ready for her Mardi Gras theme event. So they all head out to get ready. And this is where we start seeing the cracks within the friendship of Alexia and Marisol, because they get back to their rooms and Marisol, she is throwing a tantrum. She is throwing a fit. She is so upset that her room is messier than Ashley Darby. She is telling Alexia, why do we have so many dirty plates here? All these dirty dishes. Where's housekeeping? Where's Pepsi? Why is this room so dirty? And I'm looking at you, Marisol, like, I mean, isn't this your room? Like, you're the reason why, so clean it up. And I get it that housekeeping is supposed to, you know, show up or whatever. I'm not sure how the schedule is, but it's just like Marisol. I'm pretty sure that Pepsi and his whole entire team are doing the best to accommodate everybody. Like, relax. Alexia is trying to calm her down. Like, relax, Marisol. Relax, relax, relax. We're going to call Pepsi and have everything, like, clear it out. Marisol, she's not having it. She's telling Alexia, yeah, Pepsi. Él solo habla. Él no sirve para nada. And I'm like, wow. Wow, Marisol, that's how we feel? That's how we're feeling on this trip? Like, she basically said that Pepsi is all talk. He's not good for anything else. And I'm like, wow, Marisol, so nasty and so rude. So nasty and so rude. So disrespectful. And Alexia was just like, no, 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 Marisol, no, no, no. We love Pepsi. We love him. We're going to call him. Everything is going to be good. And Marisol is upset because she wants her own room. She does not want to share this room and one bathroom with Alexia, which I didn't notice. Are both of them the only ones that are paired together in a room like this, or is everybody else paired off? But Alexia had my favorite look of the night with the black dress, the diamond choker, the mask. Everything about the look was so nice. Marisol, she came in second place with the all purple, with the purple mask. And then Portia came in third place. Whitney came in fourth. We get in the vans, and then I believe we have Marisol, Alexia, Portia, and Giselle. Portia is telling Giselle, I mean, I just feel like, you know, Candace is trying to start an issue with me, but if me and you gang up on her, then all of a sudden we're going to be labeled as bullies. And I mean, you know, it's just, it's really, hold on. It's really hurtful that Portia and Candace, you know, I like both of them, and, you know, they're not getting along and they're bumping heads and everything. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way on vacation. Like, Giselle is right there. But I mean, I could see what she means. And at the same time, Candace is no angel. Portia, you're no angel either. But then again, I feel like Candace, she came on this trip knowing that Portia was coming. And I just feel like she was just not going to give Portia a chance unless she apologized for her comments on Monique. Now, did she apologize? No, we obviously saw that. So I feel like Candace was not going to like Portia to begin with. Portia, I don't know, I feel like you're also kind of nitpicking at her as well. And then Giselle being at your side, that doesn't do it any better. So then Giselle, she starts talking about the whole situation with Candace and Chris, and how Candace was basically accusing Giselle of trying to accuse Chris of sexual assault. And they were all shocked, like, what? She really said this? Giselle is painting on the whole victim image really, really good to them. She was just like, yeah, I can't believe that either. She said this on camera, and all three of them were shocked. Now, I'm not really too upset with all three of them being shocked because they don't know the full story behind everything. You know, I'm pretty sure they haven't seen season 7 or the reunion. I'm pretty sure their minds or at least Marisol and Alexia's, I'm pretty sure that now, looking back, they would probably be like, Giselle, I'm not really sure your story is 100%. Portia, I'm not sure. They get to the restaurant that's so nicely decorated. It's Mardi Gras themed, so everything is yellow, purple, and green. The table is outside with a bunch of umbrellas sitting around it. They're all sitting down, they're talking, the food is being catered. Giselle, surprisingly, she's talking about herself and her personal life, and I'm like, wow. She actually cracked the door open just a little bit. Just a little bit. She was just like, peekaboo. Okay, that's enough. Back to being the producer. But it was nice to hear her talking about her family. Even though I believe she discussed it in earlier seasons on her show, it was still nice for her to bring that up and discuss it amongst people who are not originally on her cast. And isn't it so funny, the timing of this episode, because just 2 days ago, supposedly it was announced that the Real Housewives of New Orleans is happening and they're currently casting. So I'm excited about that. I hope it actually does happen, and I'm looking forward to see how that goes. I've always wanted to go to Mardi Gras. I've never gone, but from the pictures and videos and stuff that I see, it seems like a fun time. And then Marisol just had to mess everything up because Candace, sitting at the very end of the table next to Heather, she burps really loudly out loud, and I do not like when people do that. Like, it's so gross. But Marisol, she takes it upon herself to say that it's gross, but she says it in Spanish to Alexia, and she tells Alexia, oh, escuchaste eso, oh, que asco. Like, oh, that's so nasty, that's so gross. But again, in Spanish, and you just proved Giselle's point from the first episode of, oh, I just feel like you're talking bad about me in Spanish. And Marisol, you just made us look so terrible. And Alexia, she didn't really pay too much attention to it. She was just like, oh yeah, it's terrible, whatever. She kept digging into the food. But Marisol, she was so shocked about it, and she was looking over at Candace like, oh, look, mira, se está riendo de la situación. Meaning like, oh, look, Candace is laughing about her just burping out loud. And Marisol, if you were so bothered by it, you should have just said something in English instead of talking shit in Spanish. And again, proving Giselle's point to the first episode, but that was disappointing. So eventually it started raining, so they had to get the umbrellas and put it over themselves. They started walking. Giselle, she had a boombox on wheels, and it was playing music. And she was the very leader of it. She wanted to teach them how to second line dance, I believe it was called. And I mean, it was cute, but at the same time, Giselle, we know how you dance. So I don't know if you should be leading the pack, like, but regardless, she was doing a good job. It was cute, right? It was nice. And then eventually they sit down on the inside, and then Giselle was just like, okay, so me and Robin, and I'm like, no, please don't tell me she's here. She says, me and Robin, we came up with this podcast called Reasonably Delusional, and we have a game to it. And I'm like, oh, wait, are we talking about the same iconic game from season 6? And yes, it was the game with the 2 paddles, and she brings them out. And I'm like, oh, Giselle, out of all the things that you've done on this show, this is actually a choice I could actually get behind you on, Giselle, because I actually enjoyed the game when it was premiered on season 6. That was the episode where Wendy told Giselle, me? Jealous of you? Of this house? Please. And then she started laughing. Ooh, that episode was hilarious. That was also the episode where Candace was running down the driveway with the dramatic music in the background, and she was just like this the whole time. And Karen was dizzy. That's when Mia told Candace, oh, you know, I didn't want your music video to be low budget. Your mom's low budget. That all happened in the same episode. So she brings out the paddles, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Some mess, but I'm here for it. So the first question was, do you think it's reasonably or shady if somebody on a cast trip is sick, but they still want to participate in the activities? And I'm like, what kind of question is that, Giselle? Like, I expected more from a producer like you. Like, that's the best you got? But I feel like she was just trying to slide in, you know, real smooth. Marisol, that was for her, obviously. Marisol was just like, okay, well, I try. Everybody was just like, no, it's pretty reasonable. The fact that she's willing to do something. The next one, that's where we got shady with Alexia. Is it reasonable or shady that somebody took credit for a show that went away for 8 years? Alexia said, that's shady. That's towards me. I'm not taking credit for anything. I'm just saying that when our show premiered, we were so diverse, and what other city could make a huge comeback after 8 years like we did? And I mean, Alexia, you know, kudos to you, but at the same time, the reason why no other city has made a comeback after 8 years is because they're still on TV being successful and people are watching them. That's the only reason why, even though, to your credit, I'm not sure why Miami was ever put on pause in the first place, because the first 3 seasons were good, the second was the best, and the third had a crazy reunion. So I'm not sure what happened. I do wonder if the Real Housewives of Dallas could ever do the same thing, like rebrand and come back as strong on Peacock one day. But Giselle's next question is, do you think it's reasonable or shady that Candace gets to call me and Portia bullies? And Candace was like, yeah, you two were acting like bullies towards Leah. Both of you were bullying her. Leah, she speaks up and she says, yeah, both of you were bullying me. Like, you were bullies. And I'm like, Leah, please save it. And Candace, I'm sorry, but you also have to save it too. Like, there was no bullying going on in this whole situation. Like, Leah started it. You said something was boring. You said, oh, can you entertain me? Can you get drunk or something? Blah, blah, blah. And both of them were just calling you out. I can't believe both of them have me defending Giselle. But I mean, right is right. Portia even said it perfectly. I mean, Candace, she said something about Alexia's story and we were just calling her out. That's it. So now all of a sudden we're bullies? No. And Portia, she also said it right in the confessional. The only reason why Candace is so far up Leah's ass is because she knows that she wants to pick an issue with Giselle and Portia, specifically Portia. Giselle is understandable because their issue goes back to season 7. As for Portia, it could come off as poking her a little bit. But again, the issue is Leah. The only problem is that Candace is standing in front of her as her human shield, trying to defend her and fight her battles by calling Portia and Giselle bullies. When we all know Candace said the shoe was on the other foot and she had told you, oh, your music is boring, and Portia was to defend you, would you still call Portia a bully then for defending you? So I don't know. Regardless, the last question is it reasonable or shady that you write a book and you title it after something that you don't believe? Oh, Giselle was probably writing all these messy questions on the airplane like, yeah, can I get a pack of peanuts? Make it 2, please. Let's see. Okay, this was going to be for Heather. Heather, again, she was having such a good time and all of a sudden... She looked so miserable. She was just like, oh, it's shady, but you know what, whatever. Then Whitney, she wants to speak up and defend Heather, even though in a couple of minutes, she's about to throw her underneath the bus again. Whitney was just like, I feel like that's a shady question. But then again, Heather, I do want to know why you wrote this book when you're still in the Mormon book yourself. And I'm like, oh, here we go again with this Mormonism thing again. Alexia, she explained everything perfectly. Like, look, okay, she didn't get her name out of the Mormon book yet. It's just like a marriage. And Alexia, she's an expert at that. Just because you're away from a marriage and you're still technically married on paper doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you're still in a marriage. So it's the same thing as Heather. She's not in the Mormon church just because her name is still attached to it. But then again, you know, marriage and religion and church is just, it's all different. So I'm not sure, but I did understand what she was trying to say. So Heather, she spoke up, she grabbed her hand, she high-fived. That's that. Candace was me the whole entire argument. She was just sitting there like, can we move on from this? And then in the confessional, she was just like, look, you either go to the church or you don't. But I am tired of talking about this for 4 days straight already. And I mean, Candace, can you imagine how it feels watching a whole entire season of this alone on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? And it's so funny how Portia and Giselle are so annoyed that they keep talking about the Mormonism topic over and over and over again, when it's both of them who keep questioning both Heather and Whitney about it nonstop. So blame yourselves. So that's that. The game is over. They get back into the van. They're heading back to the villa. We have Heather and Whitney in the backseat of one van with Leah and Candace. And it's very interesting, the dynamic between both Heather and Whitney, because now all of a sudden they're good again. They're laughing. Heather is touching on Whitney's thigh. They're grabbing on each other. They're just playing around. And I'm like, but just at the restaurant, both of you hated each other and both of you were in an argument. So what's going on? And I can't even say, oh, is it just for TV? Like, is this just a storyline? Because it's just too toxic for me. Like, Heather is the type of person that tells Whitney, oh, Whitney, I can't stand you. Let me body slam you against the window. And then 2 seconds later, are you still coming over for Thanksgiving dinner? Like, that is the strange dynamic between the both of them. But in Portia's van, she's telling Giselle, Well, you know what? This whole friendship or cousin thing between both Whitney and Heather is pretty strange because I don't think I'll be strong enough to do something like that. Giselle was just like, yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, if I was either one of them, I would cut the other one off. I don't get it. And then Portia was just like, I wonder what they're talking about in the other van. And then we zoom into the other van. Leah, what is she asking? Have any of you ever tried anal? Heather was just like, no, not really, not yet. Whitney, she was just like, yeah, but I mean, I don't recommend it. Candace, surprisingly, she said, yeah, that she's done it, but when she did do it, the penis that she tried it with, it was small, so it was a little bit more doable. And I'm like, well, okay, thank you for that information, Candace. Thank you for that, Whitney, too. So they get to the villa. Everybody's going into their own rooms. Not Whitney. Whitney, I think she's drunk or sober or whatever, but she goes into the confessional room. She looks right into the camera, all dramatically, taking off her Mardi Gras mask. She was just like, first of all, I have the 3 lies from Heather from earlier. You know, the game that they were playing. I have the 3 lies. 1, she knows what happened to her black eye. 2, she doesn't like Lisa Barlow. And 3, she knows exactly why her name is still in the Mormon book. And that's that. And we're going to get to the bottom of this mystery. At the end of the day, I want my Milky Poo. I'm like, wow, Whitney, you will really choose this show and the acceptance of everybody else, the audience, and your cast members over your own cousin. But then again, Heather's no good either. I mean, both of them are just a mess. But that's that. Let me know what you all thought about this episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.